5 after 6. I'll now call to order the April 25th, 2016 meeting of the East Hampton Conservation Commission. The meeting is being recorded. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items, despite typos? Being none, we'll move on to public hearings meetings. We actually cannot confirm that the legal notice for Pan Am's RDA was published, so we're going to push that back to our May 9th agenda. And we will move on to a continuation of a request for amended order of conditions. Lakewood Community of East Hampton, 100 Bassett Brook Drive, invasive plant management, DEP file number 151283. The commission did a site visit on Saturday, April 23rd. Thank you. To generally view the area. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns to discuss? Okay, the work is essentially the same, just in a new area. So with that, would anyone care to make a motion to issue an amended order of conditions with the same requirements as the original order?
I move to make, no, yes.
Yes.
I move to issue an amended order of conditions with the same conditions
As the original order?
as the original order.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay.
Amended order of conditions.
And I assume you can take this tonight?
Yes.
Once we make our sign and make our
Oh, good.
copies?
Yes, great.
Just passing it around, and then I'll finish the dates.
What's that? What?
So, 5. Wrong spot. No, it's okay. I can make it work with the date. We're doing it by hand delivery on. Yep, that's how that file worked with my date right there. And then just, you want to,
3 copies or 2 copies of a scan?
2 copies in a scan, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can double side the copy.
I can?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, that'll just take a moment.
Sure.
That'll get recorded.
Fine.
I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but amending an order does not extend the date of expiration.
Okay.
I can see how logically one might think it would.
That would be a different amendment.
And that would be different. That's a request for extension, at least 30 days.
So we are free to start the work?
Once it gets recorded, sure.
Once it gets recorded.
Yep, and
So
just
we have to take it down to the deed.
registry in
Registry,
Northampton.
got it.
Okay.
And just email the book and page
Mhm.
that it gets recorded to.
Mhm.
And do we have to start notice, prior notice before they
Yep.
start?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's in the.
Okay.
And that's one of
Conditions anyway.
those original conditions. I was not rewriting the whole thing for the same, essentially the
No.
same work.
Great.
So,
Great.
okay, so. All?
Just the item from last.
Oh.
Because that's the template.
Marguerite.
Gotcha, yeah.
What about the water pond?
Coming.
Okay, it's not on.
No, we can sign it without
Okay.
it being on there because it's a ministerial act. We've already voted on it. And actually, I'd like to, when Jess gets back, I'd like to jump to 9A, which should be Ballard, not Bardwell.
Ah.
Is
I
Bardwell
agree.
an actual street?
Bardwell's Ferry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was a ferry
Very
across the Connecticut River between here and,
Oh.
and there was a woman who used to work in the DPW office who had a like a therapy dog, and the dog's name was Bardwell. And so that just sticks in my brain more. Sorry. So it happens. Let's see if I can find a slow copy. Ballard. There we go.
And I have some nice drawings thanks to your GIS
Oh, good.
system.
I do too.
Oh.
Just in case you weren't able to make it or something like that, so as soon as Jess gets back, we'll move on. Actually, while we're waiting, why don't we sign
Yes.
the order for Nashawamic Pond? Thank you.
And this is what we take to the registry.
That's what you bring to the registry, yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you both for
Thank
coming
you.
and for the site visit. Good luck.
So long, thank you.
Tell them that you found a tick.
Oh, what?
I wanted to tell them that you found a tick too.
Oh,
I had
yes.
2.
You had two?
You had 2, you win.
Wow. Did you
Mayor,
have any?
Mayor had 1 crawling on her sweatshirt. It was only one outside.
Tis the season.
Mhm.
Were you walking through? Okay.
She was running through the woods more.
Yeah, but nothing.
And she's
called
lower.
grass or anything. Yeah, she's
She's
I
lower.
got one on Groveland Street.
not
Let me finish. Okay.
Is that for Nash?
Shamonic Pond, yeah.
Okay,
Do you want to?
I'll go do, yep.
Okay. Oh, right. Same deal.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so, this is, come on up. Hi. I'm so comfortable.
Hello.
This is Phil Knight, I assume.
Yes.
Yes. Who owns 12 Ballard Street,
Mm-hmm.
which is on Florence Road near the horse farm-ish.
Mm.
So here's the barn, here's the barn of Heritage.
Ah.
Here's the pasture of
Yep.
just below Davies. And then here's Ballard.
And which?
That looks like Abishammer. This is Route 10, Route 10.
I just know main roads.
Here's Route 10, here's Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, got it. Got it.
Here's Kevin Jack's.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Here is the, no, that's something else. This is the corner of the Feedorf.
Okay.
And your house is?
This, right?
Oh, you work at Time Bond?
Yes,
Oh, I used to work there.
that's why you look so familiar.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was in the GIS department
okay.
with like Sean Shepard and
He's still there.
yeah.
He's about the only one who's still there
Yeah.
from any time ago. So, wow, okay, now I can do it. I think that's probably when we were still across the street,
Mm.
so we didn't interact.
Mm.
Across the street. It's dangerous.
Does a small building ever have GIS people in
No,
it? Small at all?
only that when we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
No, we weren't GIS people.
Sorry, I still said that.
We could just make do.
So
So,
which house is yours?
This one. Yeah.
And
So
then-
this is the house and this is the wetlands area, and that's the right of way.
Okay, I see the right of way.
to Route Station?
Yes.
Okay. And just for reference, years ago, Jay might be the only other one to remember this. We were invited to look at a stream that comes down through people's backyards. It comes off the hillside and comes down, and it's a jurisdictional stream. So what's your problem here?
So,
Didn't say this
Here.
way.
It's a bad story.
Initially, when we bought the house in like October or November, it was dry and we really didn't notice any issues. Then once November came around, I noticed like after, it was like a rainstorm, like not like incredibly heavy, but it was a decent rainstorm. Like even 5 days later, there was still like standing water in the backyard.
In what part of your backyard? You thought yours marked up like this.
So.
Okay, so there's the right of way. Okay.
So it's mostly a lot right here,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some even here, like walking through the whole thing after a few days after it's rained, it's like squishy
Mhm.
everywhere. Even though like, so you can see it kind of downslopes, but even with the downslope, the upper area over here is still squishy.
And it's lawn, right? It's maintained lawn?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this part of your house?
Here's the
Yes.
driveway.
Yeah, that's the house.
So, what is this line here? Do you know, is there a fence?
Yeah, there is a fence. Yeah, that's a fence. I actually have photos
Oh.
in my car.
Okay, if you wanna,
Yeah.
we'll be here.
You remember Zio?
Seems like, oh, Miss June has figures.
We're on camera. So.
There was something else in our
So
email.
that's gotta be his house, and he's trying to build something along the edge of the driveway that drains his lawn. There's a tree, and there's clouds in this photo.
Yeah. it's a easy treat.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
shadows, like the sun, some shadows.
Staples in our stapler. I swear in trouble.
I can get you staples if you need. Do you need staples?
Can it, let's wait until,
Okay.
oh. Alright,
So this is the driveway.
okay.
So right here. That is looking at this right here in the front, kind of. That's looking from that way, going this way. That area right here, that's this. There's actually a drain pipe. Well, I don't know if it'd be called a drain pipe, but there's a pipe that connects from here. I shouldn't have run so fast. From here into the wetlands.
Okay,
Here's looking at the backyard from the right of way.
okay.
There's the fence there.
Mhm.
That's looking from the right of way, kind of just like facing that way. So I put white string markers where I'm proposing to, like this one right here is where I propose putting like the trench, and then here would be where the French drain would go.
Oh, okay. I see.
Here's the right of way, there's the fence there. Backyard from here looking that way.
Okay.
So like,
I see. The fence goes up to the corner of the house,
yep,
like that? Okay.
So all this work would be on that side of that right of way.
yes, yes, be all on this side.
Level.
Yeah. Here's from the deck up here, so you can kind of see, so here.
Related stress vegetation.
Yeah, so here, I guess there used to be a pool there. This
Oh.
is always wet after, and then stakes I put like where it's the worst. So here, here, here. There's another one back here, but it's kind of abutting the sewer easement. It goes like, or no, it goes like this way. Yeah, that's why it only goes up to about there.
Oh, okay. So there's a sewer easement through the
Mhm.
property. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually had them come out and mark where it was exactly. There's the shed, you can see the fence. So this line coming here, I'm gonna have, or proposing having the French drain go out here, kind of go in between the fence post here, go underneath the fence, and then drain off into this kind of little drain area.
Do you know where that drain goes across the right of way?
Yeah,
To,
like,
Into the little wetland.
into
there.
the wetland?
yeah, directly like this.
But,
Yes, so this is where it actually comes out here.
okay,
That's just looking over here.
okay. Do you know if the city installed, do you know if the city installed the, that drain structure?
I presume so. It's pretty big. It's, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's clay. It looks like a cement pipe. It's probably 8 inches, maybe a foot in diameter.
Okay. So all your work is gonna be in the buffer zone, that wetland, basically?
Yes.
Or a portion of your work is gonna be?
And this is a wetland?
Yeah.
For sure.
I think the buffer zone goes to like here.
Probably. I mean, it's hard, I would guess that this boundary actually comes up to here. It's just based on the aerial.
Well, based on the scale, it's
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, so, I mean, all your work is on, what, is the right-of-way paved or gravel?
It looks like a cross between gravel and paved.
So maybe
Was
at one point-
once paved.
Okay. So,
So
I
it is.
I mean, given the nature of the work and the nature of the area, I would be fine with an RDA. Does, if anyone, does
I
anyone?
agree, I mean, it's
Okay.
just these drainage pipes are putting in, right?
So I was also going to put in a trench along the right of the way so
Mhm.
that the pipes could drain in there and
Mhm. And it's just, you're just intercepting groundwater, basically.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem with that.
Is there enough slope for it to actually work?
slope.
Yeah.
So I actually, I don't know if I should have had a tighter string, but I know that it's from here to here. I know it's at least a 1/8 degree slope or 1/8.
Well, how many inches did it drop in that distance?
Yeah.
So you had a level?
Yeah.
Okay.
The string probably could have been tighter, so I don't know if that would have made a difference, because I think the foot difference, so if this is 10 feet from here to here, I imagine it looks to be like 2 or 3 feet from here to here.
Okay. So, the process would be you would fill out an RDA, request for determination of applicability form,
Okay.
and the instructions are on the city's website.
We have hard copies.
Oh, or just as a hard copy. And that will, when you submit it, we'll put you on the next agenda. The schedule's on the city's website too, in things about 2 weeks in advance. We'll most likely come out and go to do a site visit, just see it with our own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll issue a determination.
Okay.
And that way, there are basically 2 mechanisms to get formal opinions from the Conservation Commission, and that's how everybody stays on the right by the DEP.
Here's the final checklist. I don't actually have a copy of the form, but you can get it online pretty easily. And this is the meeting schedule and the submittal deadlines is what you need to pay attention to in relation to the meeting date.
Okay.
As well
And the
as
legal ad.
a legal ad deadline.
Okay. I was afraid I was gonna have to do that.
Sorry,
No.
it's the only way, there's no exemption, so we can't just,
There's no cost otherwise too.
right, there's no filing fee, but there is the legal notice fee, and there's example language on the website.
So when I contact the paper, I'm just like, I want to put out a legal notice?
Yeah, legals at gazette.net, I think. If you go on the city's website, if you under planning department, or maybe it's even Conservation Commission, but the checklist, the date, and there's a legal ad sort of guidance document, so it tells you exactly what to draft and who to contact, and typically if you're you need to have it filed at least 1 week prior to the meeting. Published, right. So you need to contact them, if it's gotta be published on a Monday
Which it does.
prior to the meeting date, then you need to at least contact them, I would say no later than Wednesday to submit it to them. So you need to give yourself, a couple of days ahead of time. You can't just give it to them Friday, they may not have enough time, so make sure you give yourself at least 3-day buffer before the actual publication date.
3 business days.
Yep.
Okay.
And then,
Quick question.
Mhm.
So for this drain, is this where the wetland is that you're thinking is a wetland?
No,
You're gonna drain it?
this is the wetland, it would be going down into this area.
No, I mean like this wet spot that you're.
Oh, that was
The old
once,
pool.
yeah. it was
Oh,
all
okay.
pool.
Is it level now, or is it the
It's,
hole?
it's level-ish.
More or less.
Do you want to schedule a site visit now, or we'll just wait till we have paperwork?
I think what we'll do, because it all depends on when you get it to
How fast
us.
you're doing it.
But if you can email things to us especially.
Okay.
We'll just turn it around and request a site visit.
Okay.
And it'll probably be a Saturday morning,
Okay.
probably 9 o'clock. Seems to be what we aim for, so
Together.
the rest of our day. I would say, submit it at your convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once that happens, and we'll schedule a site visit and hopefully just deal with it in one meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Excellent.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Let us know if you have any other questions.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay. All right, backing up. Bernie Gall, 37 South Street.
We believe they've been moved,
Okay.
so.
So at this point, all set for now?
Set for now.
Okay.
Does that mean I take it off?
No, just say,
Probably not.
Appears to be in compliance.
appears to be in compliance this time.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Ashwaubenon Pond, signed, sealed, delivered.
Can you note that somewhere? That we signed it?
Sure. You can put it under general business.
Oh. Does Gary have to file it? Is that the next step?
Someone has to have it recorded, yeah. And communicated with Gary that we would be signing it at tonight's meeting and that it would be available for pickup in the city planner's office if he wasn't able to make it to the meeting.
Which is what he's planning to do.
Yeah. And then who and how it gets recorded is
We're working that out right now.
not our problem.
You might be able to do it online, by the way. Some of the registries have it online now.
Recording? Really?
It's kind of
I
interesting.
don't know if I think we checked recently, I don't think we were there yet.
Okay.
But
You
we'll
have to
check
set up
again, we'll check again.
It's really
I wanna
interesting
say that we
considering-
checked like a month and a half ago and we
Yeah.
couldn't.
It's just interesting because if you take something to them in person, if it has signatures, they have to be, all of them have to be original.
Crazy.
Still waiting on that original signature. Okay, so Jess, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, so, I'm gonna lump the next two together for now. I need to forward Jay's email with the photos to DEP off Groveland. Off Lawrence Road, I've started conversations with Sean Libby, Libbey, S-E-A-N.
He's in there.
He's in there.
B-E-Y?
Libbey.
He's in there correctly now.
He's the DCR service forester out here. So I'm going to request a site visit with him, because, you indicated that there were areas of clear cutting outside.
It looks
and
that
not-
way, so
And
it
not
just-
just,
yeah.
but not just outside the area of the forest cutting plan, but also, basically, the forest cutting plan required, or only approved, it did not approve clear cutting,
That's correct.
basically.
Selective.
It was
Right,
selectively movable.
so, not being a forestry expert, I'm gonna ask Sean Libby to do a site visit with us. And then also, as a follow-up red flag for that property, sorry. I received an email, from DPW office. It's not it either. Regarding a trench permit application filed by Bernie Gall for 33 Florence Road, which is the Davies Farm, for a sewer stub. I forwarded it to you, Jess.
Okay. You forwarded it today?
Yep, it's one of those that probably bombarded your inbox when you checked on your computer. So, attached is a permit Bernie Gall is requesting to bore a sewer main under Florence Road to his property on the other side, 33 Florence Road. The sewer line runs behind the houses on the east side of Florence Road and the ground is wet. That's where the upper reaches of that intermittent stream we were just talking about is located, and it's jurisdictional. So at this point, he's just running the stub across the street, but in the future, he will need to connect to that line. Just wanted to give you a heads up if there's a conservation concern. So, of course, I'm wondering why he needs a sewer stub.
He hasn't filed any official plans, so
So-
as far as the planning department is aware of, there's no plans for that
Okay.
parcel. He might be laying prep work for plans, but.
So it's a
but there's
major wetlands and forestry no-no to lay out your subdivision roads as timber harvest roads.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. It's also questionable as to whether or not, so forestry is considered a form of agriculture under the exemptions. Those hayfields may not have been hayed for at least 2 years, and there's a 5-year laying fallow rule, so it's just getting complicated. So I may see if I could get Mark Stinson to attend the site visit with Sean Libby,
Okay.
just so everyone we would be reaching out to for support has been there and is talking at the same time. So, that's,
Who are you sending the photos to again?
I'll send them to both. I'll send them to Sean Libby at DCR and Mark Stinson at DEP Western Region. Also, as potential non-compliance, Kelly Ritchie brought it to my attention that there's activity on Bernie Gall property off of Park Street between Treehouse and the subdivision to the south. And that's where streams flow and large wetlands are mapped. Are there any filings for, this is why we need an agent. I'm just,
I know.
oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Come on in, have a seat.
Good timing?
Perfect.
Sure, why not?
Great.
Not yet, we're still talking about Bernie Gall, but.
Okay.
But you can have a seat
I
and
won't
sign
take
in.
long.
Okay. So that's,
between the treehouse and the subdivision.
To the south.
He owns this property right here.
is there a map and lot number on there, Jess?
No,
No,
because it's not.
'cause it's
This is
not
an open
preserved.
space map,
Okay.
but we can figure that out, but
Yeah.
it's this, so the city owns here. Is that where? No, wait a minute.
No.
It is. Sorry. That's White Brook.
Okay.
I'm
It's
confused.
behind Dennis LaCourse's house, right?
Anyway. This is White Brook. This is city-owned land, does not have much protection to it, and then this is his property there. It's got that weird look to it.
What do we do about that?
Well, he may not be, I mean, there's 6 acres in the front that I believe are pretty dry and they're not near the wetlands.
The road back through the trees looks like it's been well worn lately.
Okay,
It's pretty distinct,
okay.
so. Jay, would you be open to requesting a site visit
Yeah, that's fine.
at your leisure?
Yeah, so what is the,
I can send you the
The
map
address,
and
yeah,
lot, it's something Park Street.
There's a lot of,
is it the one that has a very narrow, like
Lot of-
frontage and then it
there's a
opens
lot
up?
of dirt doctoring happening in the front.
It's easy to
Yeah.
drive by and understand it. Okay.
You'll know when you see it.
Yeah, I'll drive by and make sure I have the right lot.
Yeah. I'll identify it by
Okay, all right.
GIS.
And then you'll let us know.
And then just keep us in the loop.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Hi, Rich, what's up?
So, well, we GPS the proposed trail.
Which
got
is
it.
the Borchowski parcel?
Yes, yes.
It'll go under general business.
Well, you have an
Or
open space.
Open space. Do it under open space, yes, that was your idea. Thank you.
It was your thing.
You just added a new category, it's very exciting.
Great. Well, I could participate in that.
Okay.
So, so it's kind of self-explanatory, I guess, but
Oh.
if anybody wants to look at it, but.
So what did you GPS?
I GPSed a trails that'll connect a void. This is a bigger overview. The original trail came around and made a loop to here. So this is pretty much the center of the damaged area. So this, all this stuff's existing up top, up by log cabins right over here, 141's roughly here.
And it's passable?
This is great, this is wide open, old roads, yeah. ATVs use it all the time, there's a,
Oh, this is the town forest? You're on the town forest?
yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
So I propose to connect
Oh, I see.
from there.
No, we've got,
up.
We're-
Yeah.
We're not oriented north to south here.
I understand, this is
Yeah.
141 and Borkowski's.
Okay, so what is this land? Am I missing that?
This is, between the town forest. I'm
Is that the
pretty
Rocky
sure
parcel?
it's, they're protected for water quality. So the town forest, I'm sorry, I have to have like the big view, it's in my head for the function. I'm pretty sure, because the town forest is landlocked. This is the town forest.
Okay.
So,
Where's Bert? Is that on there? That little,
so these are all protected for water quality. This is the town forest, although there's public access allowed here. This is the town forest. So is that, it's gotta be
Borchowski?
Borchowski, I think.
I think so. It narrows down by the
Because it
road.
narrows down, it comes down like this.
yeah.
So you're basically trying to connect from here to here, but there's not public access allowed on this parcel, right? I have to go get my file, sorry.
Same color as the other parcel.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So
So this-
if it,
So we had trails through the,
yeah,
Right.
oh. So is the spot the same on your two maps?
correct,
Okay.
yeah,
And this is the new trail,
correct,
proposed trail?
Yep.
And that's this?
yes. This is a little deceptive because it just looks like
They're different
a section of
scales.
trail, right? It's just a tighter view. So I don't know about this parcel.
And that, so this is the part, the trail didn't exist here before?
This is existing, correct,
Ah.
yep.
And it used to go this way?
And undamaged too, and then once you get up into this area,
That's where
there's
those
a line of
damages.
oaks and stuff, and it's just unpassable.
Okay, so you're proposing to just do a reroute?
Yeah, I think it would serve really well. This is fairly steep, but we can do it. We can do a trail in there. A lot of traversing, or a bit of traversing, not a lot.
report.
That went well, though.
Actually, it went really well. It was super helpful.
I was just
So,
Or
so that is, this is Rocky here,
Is that-
or is this is a common line, so
Yeah.
that must be both Rocky, and then the town forest is this.
line?
It was two parcels.
So
under
it's,
same ownership.
so it's two parcels, same ownership, so there's a dotted line.
Okay.
There used to be two separate parcels.
Get so pissed. What is this common line?
Can we just erase them when they're not lines anymore?
Sorry, I just needed
That's
to get
fine.
my bearings and
Yep.
understand it.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So what's the
Alright.
answer?
So, parcel 6, so that one, that's our, that's
I
that
think
one.
it's the,
I'm looking about Rocky, that's what I care about.
Rocky parcel.
Providing, promoting exclusive and perpetual
Another
protection of
EY.
water quality in the Hendrick Street wells and provide conservation of soil and other natural resources. I think Rocky is the one that's not supposed to have.
Recreational.
And then Catherine Root was so long ago that it doesn't say one way or the other.
So trails are okay.
I think so. The board, never say it right, board
Chowski?
Chowski,
I say Chowski. I
for
don't know.
conservation and passive recreation purposes, so that's all fine and good, it's just, I think going down here is where we're really technically not supposed to. But as long as the DPW doesn't have an issue with it,
yeah,
I
they're
think
next,
that's
they're
okay.
next. I'm gonna give them the same
Okay.
paperwork.
If they A-OK, because they're the ones that actually maintain that property, they're responsible for it, so.
Their initial response was favorable.
Sure, as long as, I know that they can get a little bit nervous about people having access to well areas or possible contamination of
Yeah,
water quality, so I think as long as the trails stay away from,
you can't see the tank on Bird Street,
right.
but you can barely see it at one
See an
point.
aerial view, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's well below
Right,
where we are.
right.
So it seems like from here to here is the only real concern.
Well, any trail on that property would be
Yeah,
existing or
this is
not.
already
That
existing,
whole-
okay.
Yeah. But it already exists,
Yep.
of course
Yeah.
it does.
There's others in there too,
Right.
that we didn't GPS.
Right.
I mean, it's a maze of roads and trails.
Right.
And it always has been.
I need to get out, you need to take me out there one day.
Yeah, we could, I could confuse you
Yeah,
easily
that'd be
out
great.
there. It took me a long time to understand the
I'm sure,
layout.
yeah. I'd like to better understand it.
Get that one.
Is it blazed at all?
The new proposed section is.
Okay.
Already?
It's all taped, flagged.
So
end
is
to end.
this town forest then?
Yes.
It's a little steep, so it took a lot of layout. A lot of tape up, tape down, back up. I think I got it figured out pretty well.
So this would then connect to here, I'm seeing it all now, which
Mhm.
connects to this, which, and then it avoids.
Goes around the damage.
And the damage is in here?
And here.
Yep.
In there, okay. All right,
Okay.
as long as DPW is okay with it, I don't.
It's not our property to say yea or nay with, and
Exactly.
But this part is, isn't it?
town forest is not.
Mhm.
Oh, great.
Orchowski is, but there's nothing there.
This is existing.
Right. I mean, nothing new.
Nothing being added.
Right,
Correct.
nothing new.
Yep.
So.
It's pretty popular again too.
well,
That's great.
Gorgeous out. Well done, Rich.
Yeah, thanks.
So
So you
to,
can hang out of those.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sure.
Jess
Can
can.
I have them?
Absolutely.
Maps.
I put my email on there too, so.
Awesome.
I'll,
Trail dog?
Trail on 7.
Is it AWG?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Nice. Well, the way she said it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So,
So,
I
yeah.
can get on the agenda for.
DPW,
Yeah.
they're, she's putting the agenda together as of today, she was, so I think
Okay.
it's next.
I mentioned it to Barb, but she had a busy day and she's not working for the rest of the week,
That's
so.
right, she's on vacation.
Yes, all right.
Do you want me to, ask Patty to put it on the
Yes,
agenda?
please.
I'll do that.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that, okay. I think their meeting is the 5th, so I have to go anyway.
Okay, perfect.
So it'd be great if you you can go, but if you can't be
Yeah,
there.
I'll make a point of it.
Okay, wait a minute. Wednesday, the 4th. Maybe.
Got it.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Rich.
you.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
So there's trail access allowed on the Catherine Root property, Town Forest and Borachowski.
Not specifically prohibited, therefore,
Yeah.
therefore presumptively allowed.
Am I right?
It's something to that effect.
But the town forest part, does he have to get permission from DPW for that part?
No, Town Forest is just owned by the city and has forever. It was
So
sort
does
of
it
that
need any-
historic.
Permission?
Probably not, because there's trails and logging roads already up there. In the past, communities often had town forests that they would use as a revenue source, and they would log it and sell the, but we haven't done that since I don't know when, right, so.
And it's the rocky parcel that is overseen by the DPW?
Yes.
As watershed protection.
Yes, it was purchased with a, water supply protection grant.
How do you spell Borachowski?
Boruchowski.
Oh!
So I think we've got all of the enforcement orders. I just put potential non-compliance for that one on Park Street.
Thanks. And that Jay is going to reach out to perform a site visit, a preliminary site visit.
Mhm.
I think it's White Brook that comes down through there.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is according to
And
that.
White Brook is perennial, so it has the 200-foot riverfront.
Okay.
And there may or may not be floodplain mapped along it. If that's reach, I don't know off the top of my head.
We'll take a look.
All right, what's next? Okay, let's do some quick compliance updates.
Could we go back to the other
Oh,
open space?
oh,
I just
yeah,
wanted
sorry.
to check in about the orchard stuff. So Jess, was I right in assuming that we should come up with a proposal for work to be done on the orchard?
I think there needs to be a determination of what the commission is recommending to the city in terms of what needs to happen on that property, whether it's to try to keep it as an orchard, whether those trees need to just come out completely and be done with it. If you're gonna keep trees, which trees need to be kept, which ones need to be taken down. So I think there's basically a management plan that needs to be developed for that, site. And, we could look to Conway again, but it probably won't be till next year, I'm guessing at this point, so.
In terms of advice on the trees, I feel like, this is just where we start going in circles. Can we just defer to Russell and Eileen and?
I mean,
We could ask their opinion and then create our plan based on what they suggest, right?
My only problem with that, you're right, is that I certainly don't have the knowledge to evaluate their opinion.
right, but
That's why we asked
I
them.
contacted UMass Extension
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
when this first came up. And they basically said, they're worth nothing, take them all down.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like there's conflicting, I don't wanna base it on one person's opinion. I'm a planner, I like to collect data and then analyze the data and figure out. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to just say, let's just defer to Russ and Elaine, just because they're butters.
Okay, so we have one
So-
opinion.
We have one, Russell thinks some of them can be kept and some
Right,
of
you
them.
think some could be saved. And there's
Okay.
others that are clearly take them down.
Right, UMass Extension said, don't bother, take them all down.
Well, it depends on what our goal is.
Right, and that's another question, is it to have a trail there? I mean, that plan that you now have a copy of, that just came from Conway School.
Which is very fancy.
There's some, apparently there's some problems with that printing, so they're sending us different, new copies with the fixes, but that's
The gist,
that's it, that's pretty much it, yeah.
awesome.
Who pays for that?
Well, we pay a portion to have them.
So it just goes the
Yeah.
amount.
So when they looked at a possible trail network up there, that was one of the only parcels that A, we had full control, site control of, that we could do something up there. And B, there was the potential to actually put a trail up there, a boardwalk trail is what they proposed. So is it to manage the orchard? Is it to produce fruit? Is it to just keep a cultural landscape? Is it to put in a trail? Like, what's the, you know,
I mean, I think it would be nice, a trail, and to maintain the character of it as an orchard without necessarily having it be
Harvesting.
an intensive orchard operation,
Right,
because no one has time for that.
Yeah.
but get the trees back to where they're healthy and
Right, and if they produce fruit, great, and if they don't,
Who cares?
it's not as critical.
so, you know, in terms of just public procurement though, and I think, Jess, this is sort of, you know, we can't just hire somebody who's interested. It's, you know, it has to, if we're asking for somebody to come in and prune, and there's a cost associated with that, then we have to contact at a minimum 3 bidders, get their price quotes, go with the lowest bidder kind of thing. So if that's what the commission wants to do, then we can certainly access or utilize some of those open space funds that have been set aside for Echo Dale specifically projects and hire somebody. The question is, do you want it to be, you know, a yearly contract set for 3 years and to hire somebody to come out every year for the next 3 years? Do you want to just have it done once?
it might be something you have to do over a period of 3 years to get the trees back. without,
Exactly.
you know, shocking them to death.
And then I have no idea what the cost of that is, if it's $5,000 or if it's $25,000, I can't imagine it's
And I
that
guess
much, but,
putting it out to bid is one way of finding out.
exactly.
So step 1 is gonna be to define the management plan.
Well, to define our
Goals.
goals, and then,
Right,
Plan
goals
for-
and plan. Step 2 is gonna be to put together an RF.
It doesn't even have to be that formal. If it's under $10,000, I can just call 3
Just
people
call.
who do this and get a price quote.
Okay, so
It's simple.
request, get 3 bids.
So how's that gonna work? Because I know New England Environmental does this type of work. Does that mean I can't help out with the project anymore because I work with them? Or
only if they've been chosen.
what if they bid on it though? Like how does?
Well, again, if it's under $10,000, we determine who we're gonna call.
Yeah, true.
So I only have to make 3 phone calls. Under the procurement laws, you make 3 phone calls. If 2 are unresponsive, that's
You've still
fine.
done your part.
You've still done your
Ask
part.
for 3.
So,
So I would think you could work on the project, but this, you wouldn't vote on something.
Yeah.
You can contribute, work on the planning, do all that, but not vote that, oh, we're gonna use that company, something like that.
Okay. Because I know they're interested in doing trail work in local areas. So we've done a lot, like everywhere. Like we're doing a lot in Pittsfield and Athol and, yeah.
but there's also Conservation Works, who does a lot of
Yeah,
the same
I
stuff
know.
So
down
we're
here,
looking for not
so.
just tree work, but the tree management and
And
the trail.
I think we should do this one step at a time. I think first that we figure out, let's get the trees maintained, so get 3 price quotes, figure out.
For just tree maintenance.
For just arborists, get quotes from 3 arborists that can come in, or people who specify an orchard.
Right. We just had our applicants pruned by.
Perfect, you can give me that name.
Yeah.
Get that set, and then as far as the trail's concerned, there's grants out there. So I think it's a matter of applying for the grant, getting the grant money, possibly having to go to CPA to get a match, or utilizing your open space funds as another match. I think there's sort of 3 sources of funds that are gonna need to be accessed here. And then from there, if and when we get the grant, then we hire design consultants to come in and do the design work and do the construction work. So that's kind of the process that we typically would do for something like this.
Okay.
So, things take time, it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, so at our next meeting, do we wanna do we wanna decide now that do we wanna put this item specifically on the agenda for discussion at our next meeting? So that if there's any additional
interest.
sources of input, public interest, that it's at least on our agenda?
Wasn't there someone that wanted to volunteer to do?
Yeah, that's the thing that I wasn't sure about. So Ben Lesko, I think, was willing to do it for free, but if he doesn't have
But
the
again,
arborist certification.
yeah, I
And
think
then we
it's
also have liability issues.
right.
Need an
I
insurance.
I think it would be better for us to cover our bases and to put it out, and if he wants to bid on it, he would get paid for the work rather than just volunteering.
Volunteering.
And then that way, it's kind of an equal, I think it's great when people wanna volunteer, but when something like this, you know, it's just a little trickier, and I think we wanna make sure, I don't know what his qualifications are, so.
And you said as long as it's under how much?
10,000.
10,000.
Okay.
So it may only be, you know, $5,000 for over the course of 3 years to have somebody come in. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I can
But
only-
somebody's they're gonna have to go out there and probably take a look at it before they can even give us a price
Yeah.
quote, so. And then the question I guess I have for the commission is some of those trees are in the wetland or in the wetland buffer. So then how do you, so then how do you deal with that aspect of it?
So it sounds like we need like kind of a clearer proposal of what we think we want done.
Sounds like it's just maintenance of the trees, all of the trees, keeping all of the trees and maintaining them? Or are you looking for an
I would
assessment?
say assess,
It's gonna removal of some trees that are
Yeah.
damaged beyond the point.
theoretically, yeah, it could be.
And
So
then
the
trying
re-
to clean up.
So that's gonna jack the price up, the removal of trees. That may take it
Community bond.
over the 10,000.
Community bonfire?
Yeah, wetland.
No.
If Moses.
Would it be helpful for me to just look into, I don't know if I can find this information now, but like how much it would cost to prune, how much it would cost to prune for 3 years, what it would cost to get rid of trees.
I can tell you what we just paid. We just paid $350 of our 3 big apple trees. Like big, huge, old, much bigger than I think what's up there, although I can't get a good sense of it. And they removed the stuff without driving a truck into our yard, which I appreciated. And they also climbed up the big pine tree and took down some like 20-foot widowmakers.
So how much?
$350 for like a morning's worth of work.
That's not too bad.
No, but that's one time.
Right.
They're not.
And it's one, and
So we
it's
have
4
one quote
trees.
to remove trees, so that stays under 10,000 for that, and we have one quote. for
No,
fixing
that's
trees.
splitting the bid.
Segmentation.
That's splitting the bid.
Segments.
That's
what you're saying.
So maybe we would ask for,
I think you need an assessment first, an assessment and pruning, and then if, after that assessment, they say, okay, of these 12 trees, 6 of them have to come down, then we're gonna have to figure out
what that costs.
what that's gonna cost.
And by Saturday, I meant Sunday.
rather than contacting 3 tree companies and saying, give us a
You
bid on
can,
possible up to removal of some, but
but we
or
don't
maybe some
know.
all.
I mean, it's hard to give a price quote to say, removal of trees, how many, I don't know, this guy says 4, this guy says 6.
Would Ben be willing to go out there and walk around and look at the trees, and we tag the ones that we think that we should take down, and tag the ones that we think we should
I mean,
repair?
that's a
and then
good
we
way to
can send-
volunteer,
Then when we
maybe.
quote something, we
Yeah.
can say, these are the removals, and these are the fixers.
And if they have a change of opinion, like, oh no, you could save this one.
Right.
And it seems like it'd be helpful to have Russ there if he's willing to
Yeah.
go too.
Sure,
Is
if
that
he's
enough
willing.
data?
I think so.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, no, I
Don't
didn't expect that. Okay, so it
But
sounds
I
like,
would go with them if we put that together.
okay.
Yeah, because you went to all the site walks up there, Jay.
Yep.
And you
Yeah,
were
talked
up there
to-
with the students.
With Russell about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I can try to set up a visit with whoever on the commission wants to go,
Okay.
with you, and Ben and Russ.
Perfect.
to
And then we can,
get
then we can
Okay.
put a proposal together and.
Right. Yeah, if it's raining, we're not doing it.
After these ladies finish the wetlands
I don't
delineation,
think
or
we
does
have
it
to.
matter?
I think we can just do it.
Do it, okay.
Okay, so Colleen and I are going to tentatively,
What's Russell's last
Brain.
Brain, B-R-A-E-N.
Really?
Yes.
How did I not? I feel like I would remember a name like that.
donation?
No, to the calendar.
To the house.
Oh, yeah.
FYI, we're riding Sunday morning. That's what that means. Apparently I didn't share the last one.
Oh, right.
Okay. So weather permitting, we'll complete the delineation Sunday.
Hold on 1 second.
No.
I had a pheasant cross the road, cross Route 10 in front of my car on.
They stock those.
I know, at the town farm.
Where?
We just talked about this on Saturday.
Yes, we did.
But
It's
Ocean
over
Hardware.
shoot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
they grow, the East Hampton Run and Gun Club contracts with the town farm to raise them on their.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes, I have a
So it was a
lottery
mistake.
ticket on it. No, I think they've been released.
A lottery ticket on a pheasant?
Yeah. No, for the raffle that they use to raise funds to
Oh.
cover the program.
Wow.
All right.
Long story, sorry.
Okay.
I wrote Commissioner Puzas and Cody, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Will finish the wetland delineation by May 9th.
It's not all you wrote.
Oh. I was trying to
Read the whole thing.
So after that whole conversation, that's where I wrote it down. I have one other question. Oh, so the RDA, should I?
That can't be done until we know what we're doing.
Okay, great, good, because clearly I didn't do much with it.
It's okay.
Gone.
Done. Save. Okay,
Yeah, save often.
so updates. Nothing new on Mount Tom Estates.
So are we gonna discuss, we're gonna put this on the agenda for May 9th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Under open space.
Yes.
Okay, Mount Tom.
Okay,
Wait.
so,
Oh, sorry. So nothing new on Mount Thomas Estates?
No. Not that I-
No updates.
Got it.
Paul Street Extension, there was an email saying, no signs of any erosion regarding lot 123 Paul Street. Mark Reed is on vacation. There it goes.
No signs of erosion on what's the address?
23. Okay. Pleasant Street Mills.
I sent you an email saying that.
Oh, we have a bunch of reports. I think I still have a bunch to print.
Oh, okay. That Gilaher will continue to file reports for the erosion control measures that they have put into place, but the second contractor, who is Mass West, will also be installing, I believe, I don't remember why or where, but is it for the fence removal, Jay?
Maybe for the fence removal by the trail.
And that he will have to be submitting his own for those.
Right. Gallagher is not responsible for Mass West's erosion control measures.
That's, I believe, exactly what the email said.
Yeah, it's
Which makes
understandable.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
The board
Yeah.
I'm sure executive on the site, they're working. Where Mass, do you know where Mass West is
Mass
working
West
on
is
the
doing
site?
all of the curbing, so they've been putting in all the granite curbing, they'll be putting in the pavers, they're putting in landscaping.
Trees.
And, they will be removing fence along the bike trail.
In the last meeting, you said they were scheduled to be done by like the end of this month. Is
Yeah,
that-
not happening.
Okay.
There's delays, shocking. I know.
Bummer.
Okay. Geeleher.
Leher.
Nashwanik Mills, no updates.
Nothing.
Connecticut River Oxbow, no updates. Town Beach, is the city gonna, or is, that's Terry who has to
That's
come
Terry.
forward with that one
He's gotta do
too.
both of them.
Great. Lathrop, well, we just got our update.
What
Mutterfield,
does he write for that? See above?
yeah. That would work.
Discussed in.
Thank you, Crash, thank you.
Oh, I'm with them. Give me support. I know what it's like.
Butterfield, last time I looked, it was still working on the parking lot.
Actually, I'm gonna, with the Mutterfield thing, I'm gonna segue into, I did a site visit this afternoon
on the down gradient property, downstream property with Joe Pipchinsky, P-I-P. C-I-N.
Does this go under
Yeah, Joe Pip,
Joe Pitt.
DPW super. It
Also under
it can go under general.
Okay, so hold on
Till we find it.
several moments. Okay, so.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you for taking minutes.
Commissioner Cody did a site visit today?
So this afternoon at 4:30. Joe Pip. Just say Joe Pip. I'll fix it. Once I look it up. 'Cause I don't wanna butcher it.
He's DPW director.
Oh, every town calls it something different. Thank you.
Is he the replacement of Jim
No.
Gracia?
No, no, no.
No,
He
no.
was Jim Grace's boss. Yes, yes. He's been there.
City engineer.
Jim Gracia was city engineer.
Got it.
And what was the address again that you were?
Off East Street on intermittent tributary to Brickyard Brook.
What was the?
So this is about.
It's,
sediment
someone's bringing it up
collection.
again.
So it's the sediment collection.
It's the
that's happening in it.
sediment-filled stream channel.
And Jim Gracia was supposed to file the paperwork and so.
Except to do it would probably would probably exceed 100 cubic yards of material, which would trigger 401. And that just, and the length of it, the linear footage of it would with the state permit would probably trigger the MIPA threshold for bank.
Mhm.
So it's not just a notice of intent at the local level, it's 401, 404, MIPA, and that's really
It's the
a
alphabet
lot
soup.
of permits.
So
it
it's,
costs
when
a
you're
lot.
talking about permitting would be fixing the sedimentation problem. in the-
No, it would not be fixing,
It would be taking the
it
sediment
would
out
be,
of the
it would be
channel.
restoring the stream channel
I guess that's what.
by removing accumulated sediment. But it's a really strange thing where I think perhaps folks have helped it initially right at the outlet of the culvert.
Is this that one spot that we looked at before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
By the house.
And then,
yeah.
but given the size of some of the alders growing back where it's completely filled in, it's been that way for at least 5 or more years, easily. They're huge. And then you get to a spot kind of behind, almost behind Gary Golis's house. And all of a sudden, it's like a 6 or 8 foot ravine.
Hmm.
Like the sedimentation just stops and it's just a big hole in the ground. And then there's a really horrible stream crossing with like 4 different concrete pipes and a whole bunch of fill. It's been that way. And then more deep ravine. So it's really confounding how it got to be the way it is, like why it's filled into that point and then why it's just wide open.
So what's the solution?
The solution is Joe is going to look for, as I recall, Jim Gracia had an old surveyed site plan of that area that showed the stream channel's alignment.
Mhm.
So step 1 is Joe is going to try to track that down with Jim if necessary.
So I'm just curious, was the property owner
No
that?
one else was there.
Okay, so he may come back to my office to.
He may come
get
back to your
an update.
office, yeah.
So, so Joe Pip's gonna look for surveys of the property, no, of the stream channel.
Stream channel.
I think it was, right, of both, that show the stream channel alignment.
Okay,
And then the next step is going to be estimating the volume of sediment to be removed and determining the scope of permitting necessary to address it. And beyond that, there's, not a whole lot that can be done, but that's an expensive undertaking, potentially. And from the sounds of it, there's no one in the city who could take that on.
Moving on.
Moving on, not suggesting. So PCT, similar email to, from Mark Reed. He said, although he said due to weather conditions at the beginning of the week, only material was delivered to the site. On vacation, we'll perform inspection and email on Monday, April 25th. As of 15 minutes before this meeting, that email had not come through. And then Williston, no updates. There was also an email that Jessica forwarded to all of us regarding Columbia Gas Project on Lake Street. Where is Lake Street?
I sent you that email?
By Town
Am I
Beach.
this
right?
Jessica or that Jessica?
That Jessica. On Thursday the 21st.
Oh, no, it must not be, because it said something about bordering
remember sending it.
rubber thread pond.
So awful.
Is Lake Street behind Rubber Thread Pond?
Yes.
Thank you. So they're replacing,
I sent this to you?
you really did.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I don't remember
You are just,
at all.
oh boy. It was Thursday at 3:21.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Makes a little more sense now, right? It's at the end of my week. They're saying in the roadway right of way.
Oh, I remember now. Sorry. I had to see the logo. Proterra?
Yes.
Ah, there we go.
Nice.
So they want to tear up the road?
No. They want to, so some of the work would be in the buffer zone. My question back to them is, they're saying excavation in the right of way in the vicinity of the paved road and grass shoulder. So my question is,
10 feet on either side of the road?
within, no, that's electric.
No, it's any public utility.
Is it any public utility within 10 feet?
Do you want me to write down what the proposed work is, or is it enough that it is in the buffer zone?
Replacing.
I think it's replacing a gas line.
I'm second guessing myself.
I don't even remember reading those. I just think I saw Conservation Commission send stuff.
The sewer line though.
It's gas. The 10 feet is a MISA thing, I think.
No, it's like an exemption.
Installation of underground utilities, e.g. electric, gas, water, within existing paved or unpaved roads and private roadways, driveway, provided all work is conducted within the roadway or driveway and all trenches are closed at completion of work each day.
Oh, so it's not the 10 feet there?
No, I think the 10 feet thing is a MISA exemption for public utilities.
So it has to be a busy roadway.
For this one, it has to be a roadway. But I guess my question is, Jessica, since you received this correspondence,
You could just respond back to me and then
Okay,
I can respond back
so-
to them.
sketch. Or
You can just give me whatever you're writing on there and I'll send it up to them.
That's all I got was the email. The pictures or anything.
That's all I got was the email. But what do I know? I can't even. That's the email, so.
Let me see if there are any pictures. There was a logo.
It's the logo I remember. I'm a visual person, so I remember colors,
so,
not words.
so there are two things that I'm wondering about. One is, if it's in the paved surface of the roadway, paved or unpaved roadway, but the footprint of the roadway, not just the roadway right of way,
Right.
then it could be exempt in buffer zone. And the
Not-
other.
So you're saying not the right of way, but just the pavement footprint? Okay.
Right, that's the way that's written.
But they wanna do it outside on the grassy
It sounds
knoll,
like
right?
in the vicinity of the paved road.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other question is, where's the proposed relative to the existing? And if it's within the footprint of what would have been disturbed originally, does it qualify for the exemption from the act proper? So there's an exemption in the act for,
Just write it down. Just write it
Activities that can conduct to maintain, repair, or replace, but not substantially change or enlarge.
Yep.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
yep, maintain, repair, replace, but not substantially change or enlarge.
You gonna reference the number on there so I can, would you mind?
It's in their email.
It is, okay.
Yeah, we can underline it.
Excellent.
So they have, no, they're not saying it right.
Oh, really?
Sorry. They're 1002 2A, they didn't even say that right. So,
Well then.
I mean, to be so specific, but then to not use
Do it wrong.
Yeah.
So MGL Chapter 131, Section 40. MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 has the exemption for removing, maintain, repair, replace, but not substantially change or enlarge, and blah, blah, blah. That, the language they got right. The other one that they're talking about, that I was mentioning of the work relative to the paved footprint of the roadway, is for 310 CMR 10.022B2 I. Which part?
310
310
CMR.
10.02, open parentheses 2, close parentheses, open parentheses lowercase b, close parentheses, open parentheses 2, close parentheses, open parentheses lowercase I, close parentheses.
Did you put a space between
Duh.
those?
No, actually, no, space, not at all. Just the 310, the space on either side of the CMR.
That's it.
So, and this is because they said it was, they're gonna replace 750 feet and abandon and place 1,000 feet. So we're guessing that it's not the exact same.
I just need to know more, I need a sketch.
I need a sketch.
I need a sketch.
People, we need a sketch.
Pictures,
Right, I mean,
please.
something different if you're gonna.
And a lot of times, if it's the
You said, just.
if it's that the gas line goes down, the north side of the road, and they're proposing to replace it within the footprint along the south side of the road, then that's still, if they're in the footprint of the roadway, they meet an exemption, and that's just it.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think we do. Do we have any discussion of the draft wetlands ordinance?
I'm just looking at this one now.
Yeah. Good luck.
Is your limited progress right here?
Yeah, right here.
So I wonder if they're gonna reference one of these.
Okay. Do we have a copy of the meeting minutes from the 11th? I did not get a chance to print them. Okay.
I had 2 questions.
Okay.
Could we back up 1 second before we
Yeah.
go forward? What was the other, what's the 310? I know I got it down, but what's the other, is it another exemption? What does
It's-
it cover? Sorry.
So even if you're building a new utility, underground utility, but you're doing it in the paved footprint of an existing roadway, you're exempt if you're in buffer zone. And then there's another provision in the riverfront area standards that exempts you for those, it refers you back to those buffer zone exemptions. And the buffer zone exemptions got a lot broader and more encompassing when the regs were revised in October 2014.
Just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's a fresher one.
Just so many.
Hmm?
I think I got it.
Provisions?
There's just so many tabs.
Oh, I used them all.
It was so long.
And for the
I found
wetland
it.
ordinance, it seems like we have a lot for May 9th, am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
I may have a schedule conflict May 9th, I may not be.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not gonna be
sure.
there either.
To be discussed
At a future meeting.
at a future.
Okay.
We do have a lot for May 9th because we have Mark Reed's 2 projects.
Yep.
Now
I
I'm
really
ready.
have a schedule not left Okay,
Ready for meeting minutes.
we don't have a copy, you had two questions.
I have two questions, I put them in my email.
I don't.
Yeah, so I didn't print copies, there was obscene things in the minutes, I thought.
Should we look at them together? Do you want to get, no?
Margaret was gonna email page and book numbers for something, but I don't know what.
Well, he was talking about the.
It's all about
Street.
Was it the
it's
old-
O'Neill Street, and it's the original, parcel that was subdivided and all of that relative to alternatives analysis for, the O'Neill Street Logan property,
Yeah.
notice of intent.
Okay. So relative to the prior,
Relative to prior approved disturbances of wetlands and cumulative impacts over time.
yes.
So I would expect that as part of response to comments,
Okay.
response to peer review. And then,
The other question was somebody's last name, the Mount Thomas Estates guy.
Adamczyk,
I don't know.
Adamczyk.
Was it here or was it the site visit?
Site visit.
Okay.
He didn't sign the signage?
He didn't do a sign.
No, sorry, it was at the
It was
site
at the site
visit.
visit, and we didn't
We
assign
didn't
it.
do a sign with the site visit.
Was he,
I don't know, I wasn't there.
no, what part of the discussion?
It was, let me find the minutes. Where you were saying that you had a site visit with the condo association, it was the two men from the condo association.
Rick Lindquist
Yes.
and Tony
Yes,
something.
yes,
I think that's what I said too.
yes.
Let me see.
And Tony is what I wrote.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
But then otherwise, I think someone should review them before we
Yeah,
approve them.
no, we'll just continue that to the main item agenda. Oh,
So I'll make these two changes, so if you can find out who Tony was.
okay. Oh, good gracious. This is not phone friendly. Mm-hmm.
This is part of the regulation stating.
How do you say?
I think it's, are you ready for the spelling?
Yes.
For Tony's last name?
Yes.
O-S-I-E-C-K-I.
Can you slow down, sorry? O-S-I.
E
E.
C-K-I.
Oski.
That's where I'm.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're not gonna approve anything.
Disapprove.
Jess, can you, forward the electronic version of the Park Hill study?
Yes, once I finally upload it to my system.
Okay. Wait, we don't have to fight over a second.
You can take that, they're gonna give me more hard copies, so you take that one and then I'll get more hard copies
Was it a major error?
there. I have no idea.
Where's Chapman Street?
Off of east
Yeah,
that accesses the mountain.
no, right.
No,
off
sorry,
of-
Chapin.
Chapin, sorry, is that what you just said?
Chapman.
Oh, Chapman.
Can't believe you heard Chapin.
What?
Right off Union Street, or something.
Oh, yeah,
Restaurants?
yeah. It's next to that, like,
Yes,
doctor or
it's,
something. Off you, next to the hardware
where the-
store.
Hardware store.
Oh.
Store.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like two down, Smoky Bears.
Is that what they're,
Yes, it's he was approved to put a restaurant in there several years ago and never put it together, so now he's coming back because the permit expired.
okay, so if it
It's
didn't
right
require.
downtown, there's no wetlands.
There's nothing,
Okay.
there's nothing near there.
So let's open a restaurant in Chapman. Interesting.
It's gonna be called Smoky Bears.
That's what he'd like to call it.
But we don't even have to put it in, do we?
You don't need to.
Because there's no comment.
Right, I'm just responding to, it's under correspondence.
Oh,
Not in
I understand what you're talking about.
You smell it from there, but.
ugh.
Teary.
It's just the printing. Okay, anything else? Why? This tastes awful, try it.
This is toxic.
Anything else? Bueller? Bueller?
I think we got.
Motion to,
Oh yeah, we got through everything, sorry about that.
motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Good point.